Welcome to my second installment of On the Ropes. Yes, this is still a bodybuilding channel. Growing up, I was a big boxing fan, and every once in a while, I'm going to bring you a boxing related video. This one, we're going to be talking about Rocky Marciano, who is the only undefeated heavyweight champion. Or is he? Okay, let's first establish this. Back in Rocky's days, boxing was a little different. It was run a little different. Back in those years, the mob had a very strong influence in the boxing industry. The Rocky's manager, Al Wild, was a mob affiliated person. Now, I'm not saying Rocky was a mob man, but it was a big part of the industry, and Rocky's manager was connected with them. And I'm sure he wasn't the only one in that era. Okay, Rocky turns pro, has a pro fight. And it looked a little rough around the edges, to say the least. Rocky was never going to be a polished looking fighter. He's a wrecking ball. He's a one-man wrecking machine. Okay, they weren't too pleased with his first fight. Yes, he won. But they decided maybe with the power of the, excuse me, with the help of the mob, Rocky managed to fight a fight that was billed an amateur fight. It was an amateur fight. It might have been a Golden Gloves fight. I don't remember all the little details, but it was an amateur fight. And he lost that fight by decision, but he lost the fight to one Coley Wallace. So, yes, in the books, Rocky Marciano is the only undefeated heavyweight champion. But if you want to be technical about it, he's not undefeated. He did lose a fight after he turned pro, a fight that was billed an amateur fight, but he lost a fight after he turned pro nonetheless. That doesn't diminish what Rocky did in his career. Now, another question that's asked quite often, how would Rocky fare in the years that followed him, the 70's and on? Many people think that Rocky was too crude to compete with guys from the 70's era and beyond. And yes and no. There's two ways to look at this over here. If you took Rocky and you brought him into the 70's, the 80's, or beyond, yes, he probably would have lost quite a number of fights. I don't think anybody was going to stop Rocky, but fights would have been stopped via TKO. Rocky got cut, and he got cut bad numerous times fighting. And Rocky took a lot of punches. In this day and age, fights, if he took the shots that he was taking back then, and if he got cut the way he's gotten cut back then, the fight in later years would have been stopped. But what if we took fighters from the 70s, 80s, and on, and we brought them back to Rocky's era? Like I said, things were done differently back then. Fights weren't stopped so quick because you were taking a lot of punches. Somebody that probably should have been. Fights weren't stopped quick because you were busted open, you were bleeding. They let a lot more go before they would step in and stop a fight. Rock, like I said, I don't see anybody knocking Rocky out. You can argue with me from now to the end of time about that. I stand by that. And Rocky was relentless. No matter what you hit him with, he's just going to come back at you and not stop. He won't give you a rest. Rocky would have lost fights if he was transported into the later years. But a lot of those fighters who probably would have beaten him, if you transported them back to Rocky's era, probably wouldn't have beaten him. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. This is Michael Diamond. I'll see you soon.